Hi, everyone. It's Kelly from the Hub here today with our friend Pastor Jim from Bergstrasse. How are you there, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. It's
Good.
busy week, but
Yeah, I was going to say it's Holy Week.
yes, it is. It is Holy Week.
Yeah.
It is Holy Week. And
For our Jewish friends, we just had Passover on this
yeah,
past Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they were busy doing all of their, a big Seder and doing all that fun stuff. And it was Palm Sunday last Sunday. So you were busy with Franz.
Well, not really.
Oh, yeah.
No, because of the rain.
Oh, right. It was super rainy. Right.
We did our palm thingy inside, which is just not as good as because we were hoping to be outside and have other people stop by and all that kind of stuff. But it would have been a chance for people to see each other in person
Yeah.
rather than on the screen, but it just didn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a funky month of weather, huh? Yeah. I think March came in like a lion and is going to go out like a lion. I don't know. I don't know. Some of these things just are what they are.
I just know that I'm a little upset that the temperature is going to get close to freezing. Now, again,
I
reminder,
know.
Tuesday when we're recording this
Right. Today's supposed to be like 65.
and close to freezing tomorrow morning.
Right. And right by Thursday, it's supposed to be like 40.
And I have spent the last 2 weeks planting.
Okay, so I haven't planted yet because, like, I've been reading Gardening Your, and they always say to wait. So, but
See, I learned you got to get stuff in the ground starting around St. Patrick's Day. Your onions and your peas, you got to get them in, got to get them in.
I know.
I didn't do either. I did, more perennials.
Yeah, I got to do that. I'm behind. All right, so today we're going to talk about, well, Pastor Jim, what are we talking about? I don't even know. You're in charge you're in charge today.
Where's today?
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes he's in charge.
what's that? Nobody's in charge, really. So
True.
what I thought we would do is we'd talk a little bit about Holy Week.
Okay.
So our viewers are actually, the first time they're looking at this would be sometime after 7 o'clock on Thursday night.
Right, Maundy, Thursday.
Maundy, Thursday, which in the Christian traditions is Maundy, Thursday. And it begins all of the highlight stuff of the death of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus and all of that. And there's a lot that goes into that. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I'm not sure that people understand or look at and understand more deeply with it. And I'm not about trying to convert people or anything like that. I'm just about trying to help people to understand something a little bit differently that's going on in our world around us.
Yeah.
Especially for people of faith. And I say people of faith, it could be a Christian, it could be a follower of Jesus. I'll be honest, I'm kind of not liking the word Christian as much anymore because Christian has a bad name to it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it can get a little funky out there, and it can, yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Christianity has really been hurtful over the centuries,
Yeah.
not just decades, centuries.
Yeah. Wars have been fought in the name of, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, not so kind.
Exactly, not so kind. However, though, I think most people would agree that to be a follower of Jesus is a whole lot easier to swallow. It's a lot harder to live it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit easier to swallow. And I think that's one of the things for me that I'd like for us to share and think about is that this Jesus person was a person, was a human being, as well as a spiritual being.
Yeah, I think, we think about him being the post-Easter dude, as opposed, the spiritual part, as opposed to the pre-Easter, the person that walked around. Yeah.
We forget that he
Yeah.
walked around and was among people.
Yeah, and did stuff and helped people, and yeah.
And one of the things that he often espoused about was what many biblical scholars and writers talk about is servant leadership. And that means helping others, not do for others,
right,
but helping others. I mean, I could go on for, quite some time and down a bunch of rabbit holes of favorite biblical parables of where Jesus was an example of servant leadership, where he let people listen to who they are, he listened to people's stories, he let them share who they are.
Yeah.
And he was able to point them, not in a direction to be better, but just point things out for them that would give them life and give them hope.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what my ministry is about. My ministry is never about getting it right.
Yeah.
Getting it perfect. Because I think too often we think too that Jesus is this perfect person because Jesus was of God. Well, I'll tell you what. We don't know the whole story of Jesus. I am sure that Jesus got ticked off every once in a while.
Right, because, I think it's also easy to forget that, like, those books in the New Testament are not his diary. I mean,
that's right.
Those were written by his pals. So, and they were his pals, not him.
So you're hearing from their perspective.
Right. And that and it's not even like he told them to write it. So it's not even like it's his biography. It's his friends who hung out with him now and again, who wrote stuff down about, so the other day when I was hanging out with my friend Jesus, we did this. It's not like, right. So it's a whole different perspective. Yeah.
And they were written years after Jesus was crucified.
Right. And they weren't written down the day after they helped people fish. They were written down years later, right?
Because actually, when it came time for the day of the crucifixion,
yeah,
the disciples ran.
Right. Because they thought, well, dude, if they're gonna do this to Jesus, they could do this to me because we're all in this together. We're all super pals, and I'm not really down with this. This is not my cup of tea. Yeah.
There's only one that maybe that scripture tells us stayed by the cross, and that was his favorite disciple, so to speak, which many people attribute to John.
Yeah.
But I mean, many others, they all flew the coop.
Right. And you know what? Seriously, understandably. I mean, I don't think we should put blame on any of those other pals because who wouldn't?
Hey, I've flown the coop a few times too.
I mean, if that was going down, I'm not sure I would be hanging out. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So one of the things that that people that will, if they tune into the worship service of which I'll be a part of this weekend, we're going to be talking about the Gospel of Mark, which has the Easter story in it. And some things that people don't know about the Gospel of Mark is that the last part of it was written like 400 years after the crucifixion. But the writer of Mark sort of ends it with like saying, Jesus died, Jesus rose. Now what do you do?
Hmm.
The story is not finished. The story is yet to be finished. And even now, 2,000 years later, the story is still being written, which means you and I, not just you, Kelly, but you and I and us are still writing the story of Jesus, are still writing the story of Jesus. And how do we experience Jesus today? And something that I've said to my congregation a few times over the last couple of years is that sometimes you are Jesus, and sometimes you meet Jesus along the way. And we think that Jesus looks a certain way because that's what we've been conditioned to. And the reality is Jesus looks like you.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Right, because that's in some congregations, people don't know how to handle that, man. I mean, that's a lot to handle.
So I'm already sure, I'm imagining that some of the people that are watching this are going like,
right, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like you said words that like, whoa. Yeah, right.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the B word can be pretty strong, but in some congregations, it's the B word. Like you said some stuff that was strong.
Yeah.
Right. That's like taking the name in vain. So why is it not the B word?
It's not the B word because I think it's exactly what we are called to do as followers of Jesus, to continue in his footsteps, the work that he began of loving our neighbor, of caring for one another, of caring for people and not asking why. Why should I care for you? Because fill in the blank, but care for one another because they matter. Because you matter, you have worth, you have value. And one of the things that I'm continually learning and wrestling with is in my own ministry that is how can I help the people that I encounter? And by the way, that's not just the people in my own congregation, that's the people wherever I am. How can I help them to understand that the work that they do, the words that they say matter, and that they give others hope, they give others a reason for living, a reason for caring. So the work that we do, that all of us do, is ministry. As servant leaders, as caring for our neighbor, means that we are doing the work that God desires of us to do. Because I believe that God is a loving God. And how we exhibit that love for our care for neighbor and how we treat one another. I mean, maybe you've heard me say, we believe that the way we treat one another is the fullest expression of how I live out my faith. So, that being said, Kelly, the work that you do,
yeah,
as the hub coordinator, hub director,
yeah,
is ministry.
And see, that's really hard for me to hear because I don't.
Do you know why that's hard to hear? Because we've been taught, we've been conditioned to believe that we could never be that good.
Right. And that's like my goal to do what I do. So for those of you who may or may not know, right now is the time in like, it's the time when like a lot of people are getting, it's there's a moratorium on rent that is ending soon. Just extended it, but a lot of landlords are really upset because they haven't gotten paid in a long time, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent and pay their utilities. A lot of utility companies, the sort of winter season just ended, and so a lot of utility companies are going to start disconnections. And so a lot of us in this part of the county, and actually, across the county, across the country, are trying to work on this new federal program to help people get connected and be able to give them some federal dollars to help them with both their rent and their utilities. And it's a lot of work. I have a lot of clients. Effort Area Social Services has a lot of clients. Real Life has a lot of clients, and it's a lot right now. And I don't see that work as, I don't know. I do this to help people. I don't do this.
You do it out of love. It's servant leadership. You're caring for a neighbor.
I just can't imagine getting evicted because you don't have money. I can't imagine what a family would go through in that moment. I can't imagine someone not saying, no, I'll help you. I can't imagine what that family would feel like. So I'll do whatever I can. And I know I can't solve the problem, for heaven's sakes, but I can do whatever I can to make it better. And that's what we're all doing.
You only need to change one person.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
One person.
I'm sorry that I cry. It's just that,
Kelly, those are tears of joy. Those are not tears of pain.
Right.
As you're doing this, I'm imagining there are people sitting at their screen or sitting by their phone, viewing or listening to this and thinking, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I imagine there are some tears going down some other faces too, because we can't imagine that we would ever be that good. None of us can ever imagine that. Again, because we've been taught that God doesn't want perfection. God wants us to be our best possible person. And we are not our best selves when we put up all kinds of barriers to be in relationship with one another. And I'm not going down any other rabbit holes, but the point is that we all do that. We all put up barriers.
Yeah.
We all put up barriers that we can also take down.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm meeting so many wonderful, kind people. And all they want to do is take care of their families and live a good life and work hard and
know that they are loved, know that they are thought about, and know that they are cared.
Yep.
So that they can live their best possible life.
Right.
It's not your life. It's not my life. It's
right.
their life.
Right.
And make it their best possible life.
Right. Right. And right. And my hour that I spend with them, or 2 hours that I spend with them, they're like, that's all we have to do. And then they'll just send me money. I'm like, yep, you qualify. It works. This will be taken care of. It'll be fine. Really? Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll get taken care of.
And let's face it, your work connecting people with the programs that are offered by either state or federal government, you're that intermediary because that governmental stuff is hard to understand.
It is. It can be so complicated. It can be so complicated. It's hard to find. It's hard to read it. It's hard to navigate it. It's hard to upload it. It's hard to do all of it. Yeah.
And Kelly, you're with people that may not even have internet access.
Right.
You may be with people that don't know how to write.
Right. I mean, some of them can't read English. Yeah. And sometimes, I was with this guy. He was so stressed out. He's a single dad and raising 3 kids on his own. And he came after work and he was just so stressed out. He could barely like even concentrate on the screen. And I looked at him. I said, honey, I'm not trying to take over. I said, do you want me just to type so that you can just sit here and just tell me stuff? And then I'll just type it and then it'll be okay. Because I could see he was just like shaking, but he wasn't shaking with like, I don't know, like he wasn't mad, but he was just like, I could see he was stressed out. And he's like, hey, do you mind? And I was like, no, it's okay. And I was just started typing and I said, okay. And I would just ask him questions and he would just tell me answers. And it was so much better for him. Like his shoulders relaxed and it was just, and he just started telling me stuff and it wasn't even relevant to what we were doing, but he just like, he really, his whole body really, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And I know he left calmer than he came in. And so I know he could go home to his kids and be a better dad. I know that. I like felt it in my bones. That was all that mattered.
Yeah.
That was really good.
And can we imagine, I'm just going to put it this way. Can we imagine the greater Northern Lancaster County population being like that in Ephrata and Cocalico school districts? Because that's primarily the area that we currently serve.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would happen? I'm getting goosebumps. Can you imagine what would happen if we were to reach one another out of love and not out of care and necessity?
It's pretty cool.
Too often, I think we have to do it because we have to do it. No, we have to do it because we want to do it.
Right.
We do it because we care about the other people. And I don't care what your past has been.
Right. It doesn't matter at all to me. It's where are you right now? How can we get things to help you where you are at this exact moment to make things better?
And guess what? It's gonna take time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Things don't happen instantaneously. But know that we'll be there along the path.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So really that's ministering?
That's ministering. Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's servant leadership. It's ministering. That's doing ministry.
Then I guess I do that. Huh.
And guess what?
What?
So we average about 150 to 175 viewers in a week.
Yeah.
But they all do ministry too.
That's pretty cool.
Because if you touch somebody's life, that's ministry.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
And in my vocation, that's what we call church. Caring for people.
And that's something that I don't think people would even, like, you wouldn't even put those two things together. And you're doing it without even knowing that you're doing it, which is really wonderful. Huh.
If I may brag about my congregation.
Of course you can. You have a wonderful congregation.
Most of them aren't going to see this because half of them don't have internet service.
Right.
They have stayed well connected during this pandemic. Well connected. They make phone calls. They send cards. Every once in a while there is a visit, but not very often.
Yep.
But they care about each other in ways that I could have never imagined. And they were doing it, and someone just needed to show to them that you're already doing ministry. You're already doing ministry.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about it. It's living to your best possible life.
Wow.
For me, it's like living with grandma and grandpa. And I love it.
Yeah. It's interesting, like in some churches, Holy Week is like extra. Like it's way more than like a regular week. But with you guys here at Bergstrasse, and I wonder how many other churches, it's like a regular week because what you do is already at a higher level. So it doesn't feel like it's, I mean, yes, there's going to be Monday, Thursday, there's going to be Good Friday, there's
going to be Easter Vigil.
Right, there's Easter Vigil service. There might be more services, but the level is already there.
This week feels busier because of the work involved with putting together worship services. But that's also ministry. Worship is ministry.
Right.
How do we experience the holy in everything that we do?
Thank you, Pastor Jim. This is really great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the work that you do, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you for your ministry.
You're welcome.
Happy Easter,
everybody. Happy Easter.
Bye.